Hello P6. For today's maths, we are going to get underway for our warm-up activity by doing one of these maths code words. A maths code looks a bit like a crossword, except that at the minute in our grid that we've got here, we don't have letters, we have got numbers. Now, if you look very closely at the numbers, you might notice that what's the smallest number? Well, the smallest number is 1. What's the biggest number you can see on the page? Well, the biggest number on this page is 26. So the numbers go from 1 to 26. Why from 1 to 26? Well, there are 26 letters in the alphabet. And in a maths code, each of these numbers represents a different letter of the alphabet. So every time we see the number 1 written down, the number 1 is a particular letter of the alphabet. 2 would be a different letter, 3 would be a different letter, and so on. How will we complete our maths code? Well, what we need to do is we need to go to the bottom of the page and we need to solve these questions, and they will help us work out which letters we're going to put into the maths code, and then eventually we will create lots of words. For example, if we have a look, this is the higher level page that we're looking at the minute. The first clue on the higher level page says 7 times 5, inside the brackets, take away 14 equals, and that will be the answer for the letter P. So what's 7 times 5? Well, do you remember how to do bracket questions? What we do is we look at the bit in the brackets first. So 7 times 5, that's going to be, 35. 35 take away 14. What's 35 take away 14? Yeah, it's going to be 21. Now, can you see the number 21 anywhere inside our maths code? So scan through it, and what you're looking for is the number 21. Have you managed to spot it anywhere? Well, I can see the number 21 there. So what I do is 21 is equivalent to the letter P. So if I can see 21 written down, in the bottom of that box I put the letter P. Now, can you spot any other 21s? Yeah, there's another one. So I'm going to put P there. Can you see any others? Now, at this point, I can't spot any others. Maybe you have. But that doesn't matter, because at the end, if there are any boxes that I haven't managed to do, I can always go back. 1/4 of 64. Let's do that one. 1/4 of 64. Well, what does 1/4 mean? It means divide by 4. So the question I'm basically doing is 64 divided by 4. Now, you might be able to do that in your head. If you can't do it in your head, that's okay. Find a space. You've got plenty of space around the sides. So 64 divided by 4. So 6 divided by 4, that's 1. Remainder 2. 24 divided by 4, that's going to be 6. So 16. So every time I see 16 in the puzzle, it's the letter K. Can you spot any 16s? I can see one there. So that's going to be a K is going to go there. Can you spot any other 16s? Oh, there's one. So I'm going to put the letter K in there. Any more that you can see? At the minute, I don't spot any more. So P6, what you have to do is you have to keep going like that. Work out the answer, write it in. Whatever letter you've got beside it, whenever you see that number in the grid, you need to write that letter there. So 21 was P, so every time I see 21, I put a P in the box. Every time I see 16, I put a K in the box. And what you will eventually do is create lots of words inside our code word. They might be reading across, they might be reading down, but you will end up with lots of different words. But when you've created all your words, you still haven't finished, because one of the words that you create within this maths code will be a maths word. Now, it might be a word to do with something like money or time or measurement. It could be an actual number, it could be a type of shape, something to do with maths. So once you've finished, read through the words going across, the words going down. One word will be a maths word. Can you work out what the maths word is? Now, that's the higher level task. If you choose to do the lower level task, then your lower level task looks like this. This is a little bit simpler, and your letters are all in alphabetical order from A, B, C, all the way down to X, Y, Z. Same idea though, work out your answer. So 1 plus 2 plus 3, that's going to be 6. So every time you see the number 6, you need to write A at the bottom of that box. So if you can see any 6s, go and put an A in the bottom of that box. And eventually you will also spell out lots of different words. One of them will be a maths word. Which word is the maths word? So that is our warm-up activity today, doing our maths code. Now, the second activity today, we are going to be thinking about quadrilaterals. And quadrilaterals are those shapes that have got 4 sides, 4 straight sides. Now, you might remember back at the start of P6 that we looked at a couple of different examples of quadrilaterals. We looked at shapes like squares, rectangles, parallelograms, trapezium, rhombus, kite. And we learned about the length of the sides. For some of them, they have sides that are equal in length. Some don't have sides that are equal in length. Some have opposite sides that are equal. We thought about angles. We thought about, do you remember these angles? Right angles. Our square and our rectangle had right angles. The other shapes didn't necessarily have right angles. Now, the shape we're going to be concentrating on today is the parallelogram. And one of the things we learned about it, apart from the fact that opposite sides are equal and parallel, we learned back in term 1 that opposite angles are equal. Opposite angles are equal. Now, what I want you to do today, P6, is before we do any more work on quadrilaterals, I want you to go and watch this Maths Mansion programme. You've probably already watched it at the beginning of P6, but go and watch it again. It will remind you about some of the quadrilaterals, thinking about things like equal sides, equal angles, parallel sides. Go and watch that programme and then you will be ready to do today's activity, because in today's activity we're going to be thinking about shapes like this one, the parallelogram. Now, one of the things that we learned back in term 1 was that when we're looking at a parallelogram, the angles inside a parallelogram, and in fact the angles inside every single quadrilateral, must add up to 360 degrees. Now, we can prove that to ourselves when we look at a square or a rectangle. In a square or a rectangle, we have got our 4 angles, and each one of those is 90 degrees. 4 groups of 90 makes 360 degrees. And it doesn't matter which quadrilateral I'm looking at, if I add up the 4 inside or internal angles, then they will add up to 360 degrees. Now, for today's task, we're going to be thinking about parallelograms, just like we have here. And we're going to work out the size of the missing angles. Now, we did do a little bit on this before Christmas, so today's activity is mainly revision, but watch carefully and we'll remind ourselves what to do. On the website, I've given you an explanation as well, so if you get stuck, you can either watch this video again or go back to the website. But what we learnt in term 1 was that, yes, our angles have got our quadrilaterals, the angles add up to 360 degrees, but we learned that opposite angles are equal. Now have a look at this very first shape. Here's my parallelogram, and I can see one angle, which is 109 degrees. And I need to work out angle A, angle B, and angle C. Now, how will I do that, P6? Well, one of the things we learned when we looked at parallelograms was that opposite angles are equal. To find the opposite angle, take the angle that you already know, and in your head or on your page with your finger, go and draw a diagonal line to the opposite corner. In this shape, 109 degrees, the opposite corner is angle C. If that angle is 109 degrees, angle C is also 109 degrees, because opposite angles are equal. So that means I've now got this angle, which is 109 degrees, and I've worked out angle C, which is also 109 degrees. But now I need to work out what size my other 2 angles are, angle A and angle B. How will I do it? Well, I would encourage you to do your working out when you're doing it, do it on the back of the page, but I'm going to keep that page there. I'm going to do my working out on a separate page. So we have got 109 degrees, and we now know that this angle is also 109 degrees. So I'm going to do a calculation. I'm just doing it as rough work, so don't need any fancy squared paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my two groups of 109. 109, 109, add them together. So 9 add 9 is, 18. 0 and 0 and 1 is 1. 1 add 1, 2. So if I added those two angles together, I've already used up 218 degrees. How many degrees are there in a quadrilateral altogether? 360. So what I now need to do is I take my 360 and I'm going to take away what I've already used up. I've already used up 218 degrees, so I'm going to take that away from my 360. So I'm doing a take away calculation. 0 take away 8, can't do. So do your exchange. 10 take away 8, it's going to be 2. 5 take away 1, 4. 3 take away 2, 1. So I still have 142 degrees left, but I need to share that 142 degrees between angle A and angle B. I've still got two angles left. How will I share it between two angles? The next thing I need to do is divide. I'm dividing by 2 because there are two angles left, and I'm dividing this 142 by 2. So 1 divided by 2, can't do. 14 divided by 2, that's going to be 7. 2 divided by 2, 1. That means that my other two angles both have to be 71 degrees. Now, I could prove it to myself. I could then add up my 4 angles and prove to myself that they add up to 360. So I could I've got 2 groups of 71. I've got 2 groups of 109. So if I wanted to add those together, do those add up to 360? So 1 add 1 is 2. Add 9, that's going to be 11. Add 9, that's going to be 20. 7 and 7, that's 14. And 2 more, that's going to be 16. 1 and 1 and 1. Yep, it adds back up to 360. So what did I do? I found the opposite angle. I wrote down what the opposite angle is. Then I added together the two angles I already had. I had 2 groups of 109. So altogether I ended up with 218. I could have done that one differently. I could have done that instead. It would get me the same answer, wouldn't it? 2 groups of 109. So I've worked out 2 groups of 109. I've taken it away from 360. What I've got left, I have to divide between the other two angles. Let's go and do the next one. In second shape, I've got angles D, E and F, and I've already got an angle of 46 degrees. So first thing I need to do is work out which angle is opposite the 46 degrees. So take your finger, draw that diagonal line. So if I was drawing it, I'd be heading up that way. I'm going to end up at angle D. So angle D is also 46 degrees. So now I've got 46 degrees and 46 degrees. I've got 2 groups of 46. What do 2 groups of 46 add up to, P6? So 6 add 6, that's 12, 4 and 4 and 1, 9. So far I've used up 92 degrees. What do I need to do now? Exactly the same as we did above. I'm going to take that away from 360. I'm going to take away the 92 to see how many degrees I've still got left. So 0 take away 2. I can't do that. So I'm doing my exchange. 10 take away 2. It's going to be 8. 5 take away 9. Can't do that one. So doing another exchange. 15 take away 9. That's going to be 6. 2 take away nothing. 2. So I've still got 268 degrees that needs to be divided between angle E and angle F. It needs to be divided between the two of those. So I take my 268 and I divide it by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And 8 divided by 2, 4. So what does that tell me? My other two angles, angle E and angle F, both have to be 134 degrees. Again, I could prove it to myself, P6. I could add together the two groups of 46 and the two groups of 134 and check, does it make 360? P6, for your task today, what you need to do is keep following that format. So, as we have already said, okay, what we need to do is find the opposite angle. So in the one that we have on the website, we've got angle A is 40. The opposite angle will be angle C. It will also be 40 degrees. So we add those together. We get our answer. We take it away from 360. Once we've got an answer to that question, that 280 has to be divided by 2 to get my final answer. Now, in your final answer, P6, there should not be any remainders. So if you accidentally get a remainder, go back and check your work. There shouldn't be any remainders at the end. So your main activity today, P6, is all to do with parallelograms. As I say, it will make things a little bit easier for you if you go and watch that Maths Mansion. It will help you to revise what we did in the first term. So you've got your written activity. Then don't forget, have a go at our reasoning activity. Today's reasoning activity is all about data handling. And you have got 3 graphs, but you've got 3 headings. Which heading belongs to which graph? Can you work it out? Have a chat about it with somebody at home, please. And then to finish off today, P6, I would love you to head back over to Prodigy. Well done. Lots of people have logged into Prodigy so far this week and finished their placement test if they haven't already done it, and then got stuck into this week's work. And this week we've got lots of questions which are focusing on decimals. Head over to Prodigy and go and do your very best. Don't forget, of course, you've also got Education City, where you could have a go at some of our Play Live work. P6, we're very proud of you. You're working so hard at home. Keep it up. You are doing amazingly well. And don't forget, your teacher would love to see a photograph of your work. So when you're finished this page, the answers are on the website. Why don't you mark your work and then send a photograph of your work to your teacher? We really would love to see how you're getting on. Have a lovely day, P6. Bye.